Hello everyone, welcome back to the latest new series here on On GAA, the Club Roundup. This is a football edition and I have Luke here with me to do it. Luke, we'll start with the Kerry football semi-finals. Kenmare pulling off another fantastic victory. They beat Dingle by 17 points to 13 in the semi-final. Austin Stack saw off Temple No by 3-9 to 4 points in the other semi-final, but we'll start with Kenmare, led by Shawnee O'Shea. Fantastic footballer this guy is. And they're into the Kerry football final. Fantastic day for them.
Yeah. I think the Shadow Shade is kind of where you have to start, I suppose, in this. He kicked 11 points and and kind of when the game was there to be won, he really stepped up and he kicked the last two scores as well to pretty much seal the deal. So following their victory, I suppose, over Dr. Croaks already, they've taken some big kind of scalps so far this year, and they're in great shape going to the final for Kenmare. So they overcame a good enough Dingle side as well, led by all the Gainies, kind of Connor, Paul, Mikey Gainey as well. So it was a very kind of important win, I suppose, for them that to get to a county final. And it does set up kind of a mouth-watering enough kind of tie. I'm sure we're going to get into now the Austin Stacks and Temple No game now. That was kind of pretty resounding in the end, really.
Yeah, well, it definitely jumps out at you straight away. You see that they only kick 4 points when they've the likes of Killian Spillane in their team. It's a very poor showing for them in a county championship semi-final. Austin Stacks hitting 3-9, that's obviously a lot better. But I think Kenmare, they're just moving so well this year. I'm predicting them to win the Kerry Championship. They've Shawnee O'Shea, they've Stephen O'Brien. They're just moving so well. And obviously beating Dr. Croats, beating Dingle. I think both them sides would have fancied their chances to go on and win the whole thing. So, yeah, I'm going with Kenmare to get the job done. As good as Austin Stacks looked.
Yeah, I might maybe lean the other way, and I think that maybe as well. I kind of already made the point in the hurling pod as well, that kind of about more rounded teams, and I think Austin Stacks might be slightly more rounded. And whereas, so if they can kind of nullify Sean O'Shea a little bit more than what we've seen in previous rounds, I think Austin Stacks might have they put kind of the pedigree of previous champions as well. So I might lean Austin Stacks actually.
Well, of course, Austin Stacks are the defending champions. They won last year after extra time by 117 to 1-14. That was against Kenmare. It'll be very interesting to see if Kenmare have improved, if they've managed to kind of get over that psychological hurdle of beating Austin Stacks in the final. But personally, I'm putting them down to do it. I just think that Shawnee O'Shea, he'll carry them there on his own type of thing. He is one of the elite. I think he's right up there now. He could arguably be the best footballer in the country, in my opinion. So to move on then, and we're going to wrap up the rest of the Munster club football action. In Limerick, well, we've got a mouth-watering club football final there. The last two champions are going to meet in this year's final. They're into the final. They beat Galtee Gales. They hammered them. They won by 18 points to a goal and 6. And Newcastle West, they won by a point against Monaleen. They're into the final. That will be a fantastic game. Really can't wait for that. In Clare, the title holders, Kilmurry, Ibrochane, are going to face Lissy Casey, and St. Brecken's will play Éire Óg. That's in the semi-finals of that championship. Do you see any clubs there, who could be an outside shot to win the Munster Club Championship, or even to take out one of the big guns that come out of a Kerry or a Cork?
Look, it's hard one to call. I would probably I'd probably find it hard. I do think that that Austin Stacks are going to I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win in Kerry, even Kenmare as well. And I'd be hard pressed to kind of back against them as well. You look in Cork as well. It could be a powerhouse team, kind of like Nima Rangers as well. Usually, we've seen before, the likes of Cratlow and stuff making a run in the club championship and really putting it up to teams as well. Tipperary as well, kind of Clonmel have made runs and stuff as well. But I would think that, I suppose that you'd probably be hard pressed to bet against the big powerhouse football counties. And it's nearly been kind of the last couple of years, the Cork football teams seem to do very, very well in Munster. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how the championships in each county continue progressing and which team are coming out of it before making a detailed kind of prediction on who we think is going to win. But right now I'd probably still be leaning towards the Kerry or the Cork champions.
Yeah, me too. I think if you come out of the Kerry Club Championship, I think you're well capable of beating the rest to go on and win the Munster Championship, especially I think the biggest hurdle for a team coming out of the Kerry Championship is whoever comes out of the Cork Championship. But elsewhere, the Dublin club quarterfinals, they've been announced, but we're going to do that preview in another video here on Play On GAA, a full preview of all the quarterfinals. In other news in the football, we have to look at St. Bridget's. Their 6-year run as champions in Roscommon has been ended. They were beaten in the semi-final by Pádraig Pearses. In the other semi-final, Clon Gael won against Roscommon Gaels. But we'll start with the big news. Pádraig Pearses beating St. Bridget's. Fantastic result for Pearses. What did you make of this?
Yeah, it was a really interesting game. I suppose kind of you looked at it as well. Bridget's have been an absolute powerhouse, I suppose, in Roscommon club football for pretty much as long as I can remember, nearly as well. Looking back, like with the amount of All Ireland success they've had, so this was a huge moment for Pádraig Pearses dethroning the champions, really. And I think the start was absolutely huge. They were 5-0 up within 10 minutes, and although Bridget's did fight back, kind of with 2 first half goals, and to kind of go in level at the break, ultimately that Pádraig Pearses did enough character to get over the line in the end. So yeah, look, and you as well, kind of another interesting aspect was like the rivalry between the two teams as well. Both teams ended up with 14 players, county players, Conor Daly and Brian Stack both sent off. So there was a real bite to the game, and ultimately it was a very thrilling kind of contest as well in the end, with Pearses kicking 5 of the last 6 points to ultimately kind of win by 2 in the end.
Yeah, well, it was definitely a stunning result and a stunning victory for Pádraig Pearses, who now I'm backing them to go all the way and win the Roscommon Championship. To wrap up from other club championships around the country, in the Kildare Senior Football Championship quarter-final, Selbridge beat Athy by 1 goal and 9 points to 11 points. Very, very tight game there. The Meath semi-finals have now been decided. Ratoath beat Summerhill by 14 points to 11 in the last quarter-final. They'll now face Wolfe Towns. On the other side, Dunboyne are playing against Donaghmore Ashburn for a place in the final. That would be a very interesting pair of semi-finals. As for Sligo, Tulla Strand, their 6 in a row of Sligo championships is still alive, but they had to really fight for it. They were taken to extra time by Curry, and then they managed to make it through. They were down late. Adrian Marin scored 2 points to bring them back to within 1. Red Oak Murphy then kicked the equaliser, and then they went on to win the game in extra time. But now their 6 in a row is still on the cards. But the main thing, just before we wrap up, the main one that we really want to talk about, the Tyrone Club Football Championship. I mean, when we talk about, the level of competitiveness in this championship, last year's champions Dungannon knocked out in the first round by a fantastic Dromore side featuring the likes of Niall Sludden. That's a shock.
Yep, absolutely. Look, I think it was a fantastic advertisement, I suppose, for the Tyrone Championship. What we've seen, it has to be probably the most competitive, I think, championship right now. And look, absolutely. I think the fact that we all remember the scenes last year when Dungannon did kind of emerge as the champions after a huge kind of wait for glory up there. So look, I think it kind of sets up the rest of the championship really, 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 really well. And you know what, you'll be brave to kind of predict who's going to come out on top there, because there's so many teams that can that you'd fancy. I suppose we're looking at the quarterfinal stage here already. I think particularly the Killycother Trillick game looks to be an absolute cracker of a game, and it's really, really hard to call some of these games.
100%. And now that the defending champions are out, who would you back to go on and win the Tyrone Championship now?
Yeah, look, I'm really struggling to kind of to kind of pick who it is. I suppose kind of people in Tyrone more familiar with the club championship on a day-to-day basis of it would be more confident about it. Kind of looking at panels, I suppose. That's why the Killycother Trillick game standing out to me. We're looking at the 2 panels and the strength of the players that are in them. I think the winner of that game could have a big say in the championship.
I agree, and it would be fascinating to really see how it all plays out now that the defending Kings are out. Tyrone Club Championship, definitely one to watch out for this year. So, guys, that is the football roundup here on Play On GAA of the club action that took place over the weekend. Don't forget, we're going to do a full preview of the Dublin quarterfinals, which will be taking place over the next 2 weekends. Don't forget, we'll be doing a full preview of all the Dublin club football action, which will be taking place over the next 2 weekends. And until the next episode, guys, take care.